What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I, of course, am your host, Jimmy Smith, and today is day 2 of training camp, so we're going to jump right into those notes. Had a couple signings, so we're going to talk about those. But I thank you for taking the time today. Hope you're all having a great Thursday. If you guys have any questions or comments tonight, you know the drill. You can throw anything my way, but going to go through it as I have the notes. So going to let you know everything that I read from today, saw myself, got to hear in the press conferences, the notes I took from the press conferences. So everything from day 2 we are going to get into. So let me know your thoughts. Are you a little concerned about anything? You feeling good about anything? You guys know I'm still riding that train. I'm feeling good about Jalen. Had a much better day today. Team seems, they're young, but they seem to be working well together. I'm pretty effing excited. So let's get into this bad boy. Before we get into training camp, we'll talk about these the signings real quick. First, before we even knew about the wide receiver, they said they had reached agreement, but they actually ended up signing Obi Melifonwu. And you guys know that Melifonwu was here during the rookie camps. He was trying out with a bunch of other people. We talked about him, and look, this is a depth piece, somebody here who's competing, and it's not like, oh, he's coming in here to start. But a big dude, 6'4", 224. He was a second-round pick a few years ago, and, just didn't work out for the Raiders or the Patriots. And then earlier this year, he was doing some training, I guess, with the Niners, but didn't work out there. Hasn't really had much of a superstar career here, guys. 1 start, 7 tackles. And look, like I said a couple months ago when he was here, this is somebody that comes in, he provides versatility, someone that maybe Jonathan Gannon can get the best out of. He had some injury history, so maybe he can get over that. We talked about his brother Rafitu in the draft, so very high on him, was hoping we could get him, but I think he ended up going to the Lions maybe. But regardless, Melifonwu was here. He's somebody who can play safety. He's somebody who can play cornerback, so he provides that versatility. We talk about what Gannon's going to bring with these multiple sets. We're going to get into that in a second here, but not against the signing. And you know that we had 3 guys on COVID. We're going to talk about that. So we have open roster spots, so we don't have to make any corresponding moves. And then we followed it up by signing a wide receiver, Delaware kid who went to Rutgers. And some people were excited about it. He's a taller guy, but brings in some competition for Fulgham, I think, a Whiteside, and we've got banged up players. So Andre Patton, another 6'4" dude, 200 pounds. He was undrafted in 2017 by the Chargers. He spent some time on some practice squads, I believe the Cardinals and Dolphins. So, yeah, we'll see there what he does in training camp. But, hey, I'm all for somebody coming out of the blue and making a name for themselves. Another guy that hasn't had necessarily a huge career, but back in 17, he did start 5 games, 17 targets, 16 catches, half a catch per game, 56 yards. He's not that jumping off the chart, no touchdowns, nothing crazy here, guys, but he provides some value right now in training camp where we need bodies. So some people reading, I think, a little too much into things, but so we signed a couple guys. Got that out of the way. So now we're getting into a little bit about what, I read and saw today, and pretty much just kind of go over, these training camp battles we talked about. Left tackle. What did I say yesterday? Don't be surprised if it is Jordan Mailata. So today, Mailata gets to start at left tackle. We know that yesterday Dillard did. Apparently Dillard struggled a little bit today. Mailata, just a beast. So can't wait for that competition to keep going and see who wins that one. But, that's something we talked about, and they pretty much almost answered all of our questions. But actually, before I go there, we got a little comment here. I'm a little concerned about Brandon Brooks too. So let's take a gander here at these injury reports. Now, yesterday, we saw the reserve COVID list. That is Andrew Adams, Matt Leo, and Alex Singleton. So they do not count against the roster right now. We talked about the PUP list and the NFI list, non-football injury, because he got that injury in college for Landon Dickerson, but LaRaven Clark and Rodney McLeod on the PUP list. So we'll see if they get activated beforehand, but if not, they could start the year on the PUP list, not count against the roster. So we've got some guys there. And then we had a new injury in Travis Fulgham. A couple things changed. So Fulgham is day to day. He's got lower body, but this is training camp, so it could be something very minor. You got to be precautious in these times. Nate Meter still week to week. Rager limited again. Isaac Sayamalu week to week. Shaquille Taylor still day to day, lower body. Greg Ward, non-COVID illness, was limited. And then Quez Watkins, they said he didn't pass his physical, then a non-COVID illness today. Day to day, really not sure what's going on there, but that's why you see someone like Andre Patton getting a chance. And he has familiarity with Shane Steichen, which we talk about. I think maybe even some other Sirianni might have had time with him. So I think that this guy is just providing a body because you saw all the guys that are out. It turns out apparently Rager and Goddard did not pass their first physical. So that's a little concerning, but I'm not going to read too much into it. I hope they get to the shape they need to be, do what they got to do to get there, because we're really going to need them. So does Melifonwu, Forrest Grillin? Well, that's the thing. That's one of those guys that can help you, and he can help you in a different way. He's much bigger. He's a hybrid safety that can play corner, but a little bit different, whereas Graylin Arnold can really help you in the nickel and free safety. I think Melifonwu at times can play outside. He could even play in the box safety. It really depends. He's really got to get healthy, and you're not going to be relying on him that much. He's got to have to help on special teams. But, yeah, that's what Graylin Arnold did. So great question. And I think, that's kind of the competition here. You're building competition for everybody. Nobody's job is safe. And I love it. I truly, truly love it. So Brooks had a hamstring injury. Apparently, they were, it was just a precautionary evaluation when they took him in. But Matt Pryor ended up taking over. We all know how that worked out last year when he got a chance. So a little concerning. But, yeah, we went over that. And John Hightower, we've talked about that. Who is going to be stepping up in the wide receiver room? Because, beyond Smith and Rager, what do we have here? So today, we know that Fulgham was limited. Same with Ward. Quez Watkins day-to-day. Fulgham's day-to-day as well. But John Hightower got the start. Arthego Whiteside getting the start. So they're going to try out a bunch of different combinations, and we're going to see who gets the chance. But Hightower made a nice catch today. So some nice things. And then on the defensive side of the ball, saw that Barnett got the start. We talked about that yesterday, right? Everybody's freaking out. Josh Sweat, love that. He should be getting a chance to get some snaps. And Derek Barnett today. So they were going off and on. They were rotating first team reps. But Jonathan Gannon had said they're both, starting caliber guys. I love that. Josh Sweat. And you have Kerrigan there, dude. I love the depth here. I'm getting excited. So you love that. You love that. Jannard Avery started at weak side linebacker. Talked about him moving there. Also, Joe Osman getting a chance there. We talked about these guys playing some coverage, but also rushing. Stand up rushers. Yes. Yes. We talked about this, and it is coming to light. It looks like that's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. So excited to see that those guys were starting there. So, yeah, we're going to see a lot of intriguing things from Gannon, and we're going to talk about him in a second here. At linebacker, we've talked about that. Who the hell is going to win the job there? We know that Eric Wilson and Davian Taylor were taking over the job yesterday. They both got some first-team reps, but they shared with TJ Edwards and Sean Bradley today. So we definitely we've got some competition there, that's for sure. Can't wait to see who wins the jobs there. Then apparently the highlights from today, the last couple of days, Slay has pretty much been standing out on defense and Devontae Smith on offense. I heard a 40-yard bomb. I heard an 80-yard bomb. I don't know who's exaggerating or underselling. Not sure. But they weren't allowed to be taking videos at the time, apparently. But, hey, love to see it. Hurts throwing bombs. Devontae Smith need a lot of that. And then another one we talked about when we talked about Kayvon Wallace starting yesterday. What if Marcus Epps starts today? Sure enough, he did. Him at free safety and Ant Harris trying out strong safety. And we talk about the, flexibility of Ant Harris being able to play free safety or strong safety. And that's why Kayvon could start at strong safety or Epps at free safety, which we've been talking about. One of the questions we had before camp. So seeing a little bit of both of that, seeing how they handle it. So very, very excited about those guys. And then Sippos was trying out for kickoffs. We've talked about him. So apparently they like him as punter, and they also are trying to use him for kickoffs. So I'm all for it. Whatever helps this team out. Now we got into some press conferences, and You guys know how excited I am for this defense. We talked about before we even knew or heard from Jonathan Gannon that, I thought maybe some multiple schemes fronts. This guy seems to be like Nick Sirianni with the offense. He's changing with the game. He understands that every week needs to be different. You can use certain players. One week, they're going to have a lot of snaps. Maybe the next, they don't have much of any. So certain matchups work. And I think that's what this guy is all about. So Jonathan Gannon spoke today, and man, he got me pumped. Right away, he said, sorry if I'm a little coarse. A lot of yelling today. Love to hear that. Now, he stressed turnovers. My God, have we not talked about this over and over and over again? I think he's going to bring some excitement. Not only are we going to be excited on offense, cheering for touchdowns, but turnovers on defense. And with that hits principle, that's what he's talking about. Hustle, intensity, takeaways, and then smarts, being a smart player, playing smart. I love it. Emphasizing on the things that matter. And Jonathan Gannon, dude, I think is really, I don't want to put him on a pedestal with, Jim Johnson or anything, but I think he's going to bring a lot of excitement and blitzing. A lot of things we talked about, stand-up rushers, 3-4, 4-3, nickel, all over the place, big nickel. You're going to see everything. Talked about, some guys are going to be in zone. Man, they're going to have to do a little bit of both. He just talks about that Stinger D, dude. They're playing fierce, tough. You love to see it, man. And he said, Gannon said that Sirianni is allowing him to play like that, get intense. That's what we want to see. Also had, he said, they're adaptable week to week. That's literally what we've been talking about. Yes. Every week is different. So when people keep asking, who's this guy? What position is this? It doesn't matter. No one cares what you call him. What you call his defense, it's going to be different every week. And you love to see that. So pumped about that. Talking about accentuating people's skill sets. I mean, using these players to the best of their abilities. That's why we talk about some of these guys maybe being better as stand-up rushers rather than hand in the dirt, and they could do some coverage. So we'll see. And other than that, just putting in systems that fit those skill sets. That's what Jonathan Gannon had to say. And he gets me excited every time because I just want some football and I want these Eagles to bring some excitement. And I think that is what we're going to get this year. I know there will be bumpy roads, but I'm excited. I really am. And then we got to hear from a bunch of players, and my Lord, it was like an hour and a half almost of listening to these. So we're going to get into some of the notes from the press conferences today. You can see all the guys that we heard from today. So, of course, I'm coarse. Just like Jonathan Gannon, I've been getting it in. But here we go. Let's talk about who we heard from. First up, Anth Harris, except Herschel's pumped. He's ready to go. But Anth Harris, first on the board. He talked about the familiarity with Jonathan Gannon, what that is going to do for us, building chemistry with these players. Talked about bringing in a tough veteran like Steven Nelson, being able to communicate things. Apparently my dog wants in. He's pissed. He talked about what he saw from the linebackers flying around. That's what you want to see, man. These guys are hungry. They're young. They're athletic. This is the linebacking core we needed. I'm going to go punch my dog right in the face. Hey! I'm not going to do that. But anyways, he talked about learning from the coaches. He talked about another thing was he talked about this city, learning from the coaches, learning from the players about this city, what he can be a part of. He knows where, depending on him being a safety. So really excited about that. Talked about just sharing, encouraging, the attitude, everyone being hungry. These were just some of the notes I took for the things that stood out that he said. Talk about communicating with Rodney McLeod, even though he's not on the field. They talk every day. They're trying to, when they do hit the field together, it's going to be a great safety tandem. I do hope. And then you go beyond that. He talked about just playing complementary football. So excited for Anthony Harris. What a great signing, under $2 million in cap hit. I think he is perfect for this team. A great upgrade from Jalen Mills. So excited. That might be an understatement. Then up next, we had Lane Johnson. Comes out rocking the back of the house. Rent is due hat from Jalen Hurts. You love to see that. He talked about the offense winning today. Defense won yesterday. Being real, he loves that there's competition everywhere. They're competing at all times. Talked about Hurts working his ass off. He's a quiet guy, gets in, does his thing, but a badass dude, a leader, man. And I'm excited about that. You talk about injuries happen, and they've happened to him, but it's about stacking days, just one day at a time, getting healthier and healthier. And we got to just hope this line stays healthy. We're obviously worried about Brooks. So let's hope these guys can figure it out. But, and we talk about, he said it was weird with Kerrigan. He went from 90 in red to coming here. So, but him and BG are getting him where he needs to be. That got me excited, just playing with these veterans, them helping him out rather than being the enemy. I love that. One drill at a time, he talked about. Joke LT. He's talking about how he jokes with the linemen. They're vicious to each other, but it's all with love. But they're ready to handle some business. Then he talked about JP and Harriman's and Mathis, Evan Mathis, Todd Harriman's. What they taught him, and he's just trying to pass that down to some of the younger guys. We need that. Driscoll and all those guys are, because Lane's not going to be around forever. So we've been pretty lucky with some great linemen. He learned from some of them. He's trying to pass that down. They asked him if he missed JP. He said he missed the cold tubs with him, and he did miss him. So that was pretty funny. Talked about Sirianni playing the tape of Kobe missing some free throw or air ball in him. And, even the greats have failures. So just teaching them, anybody can have failures, but it's how, you react to those. So that was pretty cool. And they're just using anything they can for motivation right now. And you love to see it. I'm excited about this team. I don't know how anybody else can't be excited. Apparently I put Harris up here again rather than Steven Nelson, but you're just going to have to believe me. His face isn't there, but it was tremendous. He said, this is a tremendous city. He said the fan base is outstanding. He was really excited to come here. He recognized the talent that was here, and the Eagles recognized his talent. So talked about the sleigh and the fans, how much they convinced him. I'm not saying I spent 125 days trying to get him here or anything, but he was just excited to be here. Talked about Gannon as a defensive back coach, as his defensive coordinator, how much he liked that. He understands the passing game, how things are changing. So he was excited for that. Talked about, he's advantageous with the positions, using guys, especially in the secondary, because he was a secondary coach. So that's a good thing. Talked about he loved this team because of the savvy vets. They've got some hungry young guys as well. So a nice balance. Really likes the safeties too. So he's happy to be here. And they asked him if he could play all around. He said, he prefers outside, and we've talked about it. He played outside his whole career, but he can play nickel if necessary. He said he'll go wherever needed if called upon, which is nice. But he also liked the physicalness of this camp, which I also enjoy. So that was nice to hear from him. These guys are getting hungry, man, and I can't wait to see what they do. Then we got to hear from Kayvon Wallace. Oh, yes. He's confident, hungry, he said. I'm very excited for him. Talks about he never quits. He actually started boxing. That was one of the things he was talking about. Talking about how it helps with his footwork, his technique, just everything. Being competitive. He never quits. He wants to win at everything. So that was cool to hear. Then he talked about Harris being an OG from where he's near where he's from in Richmond, Virginia. He just talked about he's a great athlete, and he's a big fan of his. He grew up watching him. So they've been definitely having a relationship now on this team, and that's awesome to see. He talked about it being a brotherhood here. He's just soaking up all the knowledge he can, anything he can learn. Last year with no preseason, you feel like it held him back, and then he mentioned it being like a slingshot, getting held back, and then boom, just get released. So I'm hoping he gets released. So excited to see him. He said he was a little out of position at times last year, so he wants to work on that. So that's good. He sees where his failures are. Then he talked about Devontae. They asked him about him, and he said, man, he's just taking it up a notch, getting stronger, faster, just looking better. And, he faced him in college. So I'm excited to see what Devontae Smith looks like, and I think everyone else is too. Up next, they talked to Miles Sanders. He talked about doing everything he can to get this team another championship. That's what I want to hear. Talked about his fumbling, working on catching the ball, and Jamal Singleton's been doing everything he can with them. So you love to see that. He was pissed, that they only had 4 wins last year, and he's looking to do his part to change that this year. And I love that, man. They're holding themselves accountable. We talked about that all year last year. And then he talked about energy is high in this camp. But he had a better practice today. He felt everyone did. It just, and this is a young team, a new team, retooling, adding a lot of new pieces. So the guys are learning, but he wants to be versatile for the team. Talked about line up at the slot, moving all over the place. We love it. We know that's going to happen, so can't wait. He talked about Jamal Singleton working with just keeping one arm strong rather than putting two hands on the ball. So holding on to it with one arm real strong. So if it does happen in that case, you're not getting knocked out. So teaching him some things he needs to learn. He talked about the chemistry between Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith he saw. He was definitely excited talking about that. He talked about him, Jalen Hurts, Boston Scott, Dallas Goedert, all working together this offseason. Everyone trying to create that chemistry. So love to see that. Talked about he was doing things with Hurts so he could work on that screen game, feeling it's going to be a big part of this offense. So, and he actually gave out that it will be. Then they talked about 21 speed, baby, the split back set. And we've been talking about that all off season. Before the draft, I wanted a Kenny Gainwell or Demetric Felton to put in this offense so we could run some split back sets. Sure enough, that's what they're talking about. And boy, I'm happy about that because we need to run the ball, but we could do a lot with our running backs other than just running the ball. So put two of them back there and you never know what's coming at you. Talked about old Kenny G. He said he was fast, he explodes, and he's going to be a big part of this offense. And I think so too. So very excited to see that. Then he talked about Hurts just being a leader, man. Everyone's behind him. Just his attitude coming in. He just, exudes leadership. So if he's excited, I'm excited. So that got me pretty happy. And then last but not least, they spoke to Davion Taylor. Now, Davion got to start a little bit. He got some reps with first team rep today again. So, hey, I'm very excited, hoping he learned some things. He talked about he's way more comfortable this year, getting to meet people, being at training camp. Obviously last year was crazy, but he's confident, getting put on the first team. He was really excited about that. He talked about asking for extra meetings, just anything extra he could do on the field, off the field from these coaches this offseason. And you love to see that, working to get better any way he can. Talked about his eyes, getting his eyes right, in the right place, and he said he's a patient guy, but he's trying to work on some things. So, hey, he's young. I'm not worried about it. I'm hoping that, he talked about Nick Rallis. He really likes him. He's young and can relate with him. So I think that's, a lot of people hate that the guy's young, but maybe that helps. So we'll see. And then he talked about, he's improved a lot. He talked about his goal being not to play special teams. He said he will if he has to, but he wants to be a starter. He doesn't want to just be a special teams guy. So excited to see that. And he also talked about Eric Wilson, who said he's always ready to help him, always going out of his way to do anything he can to help these guys. And that gets me pretty damn excited. So that was all the notes from the Eagles press conferences today. Those were all the players we heard from, Jonathan Gannon as well. If you guys have any questions about anything else that happened or didn't happen or any of these guys we signed, please feel free to let me know. If you're watching this later, you want to comment, I always try to get back to you as soon as I can. So let me know. Always here, always down to talk birds. But even if you want to talk about anything else in life, always here for you guys as you are for me. So I greatly appreciate that. But I am going to get rolling out. I'm not sure. Might be on with my guys over at 4th and John, but stay tuned. I'll let you know. But appreciate you guys checking me out on all of these platforms. You can reach out to me on any of these platforms. I appreciate you hitting the like button, subscribing to the YouTube channel. Everything you guys do to support me truly helps, and I truly appreciate it. All right, guys. I hope you're enjoying the training camp coverage. I will be back tomorrow. But as I said, if you need anything, reach out. All right, guys. Have yourselves a great Thursday night. Let's enjoy this draft. Sixers. Come on, Maury. Let's make some moves here, baby. Haven't seen anything that happened. I know Cunningham was going to go first, but I'm going to get into it. All right, guys. Have a great night. And as always, go Birds!